All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Providence Lucha Talk. This is Luisito.
Jay Aguila.
And this weekend, we had three shows and three pay per views, and we had Raw. So it's going to be a loaded show. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of commenting about everything went on over the weekend.
Of course, and you can follow the Providence Lucha Talk on the Insta, the Facebook, the Twitter, as well as the YouTube, the Providence Lucha Talk, as well as our audio content on the Spotify and the Apple Music. So, first things first, I'm just going to do the rundown of the recap of all the event that occurred from Friday to Monday. And then from there, we're just going to pick and choose what was more of that caught of our attention. So here we go. SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live open in the Thunderdome for the first time ever. Pre-recorded, of course. We had McMahon open up the show. Later on, it was The Fiend, then Braun, and then the Retribution.
Mm-hmm.
From the Retribution, we had the Full Locker send them out. The following match was Big E having a match with Sheaman. Big E defeating Sheaman via pinfall. Then the tag team match between Nakamura and Cesaro versus the Lucha House Party, where Cesaro and Nakamura was able to retain their titles, and as they should. I never knew they lost, but whatever. Manny Rose changed the match. It's no longer hair. It's now going to be a no DQ match. Really good. Naomi challenged both Bayley and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks defeat Naomi within 3 minutes and 39 seconds, and Bayley lost her part of the match before the time was over. The Intercontinental Championship was on the line. Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles. Jeff Hardy was able to win the belt for the fifth time. I forgot the number. And finally, we had Braun invading the Firefly Funhouse, where at the end we saw the Fiend coming out of the ambulance. Yes, we will be talking about that shortly. AEW Dynamite was on Saturday. So SmackDown Live started big with the Thunderdome. Now we're going to Saturday, where AEW, the opponent, had their show. FTR coming in with Tully Blatcher on ringside, where they faced the Private Party and defeated the Private Party. Jurassic Express and the Natural Nightmares defeated the Lucha Bros in the Butcher and the Blade. Broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Orange Cassidy and the Best Friend were in for a ring promo, where at the end they're an all out. There's going to be a match between Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Winner has to throw opponent into an 80-gallon of orange juice and champagne. So a mimosa madness, if you could say. The Elite defeated the Dark Order. Darby Allin was able to defeat Hobbs. During the women's tag team dark match, the winners are Ivelisse and Diamante defeating Ali and Brandy Rose. And this is my favorite part. Cody Rhodes finally loses the TNT Championship belt to Brody Lee. Dark Order is full in effect. Can't wait to talk about that. Jump into the NXT Takeover, right? The kickoff show was the number one contendership for the tag team, where it's the Legado del Fantasma, Breezango, and Oni and Birch. Breezango wins to be the number one contendership for the belt. Very interesting. Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. Balor with a clean win. For the North American Championship, the sancocho of this event, we had Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, and Valentine Dream. Old Man Priest came out as the victor. No comment. Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. Winner is Adam Cole, baby. And the Women's Championship, Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. Io Shirai retaining her belt as she should. And for the main event, Keith Lee versus Cranium Cross. Cross defeated Lee and it's the new NXT champion. But there's some question mark to aftermath to that match. Now we're jumping to SummerSlam. Now, Takeover in Dynamite was Saturday, guys. Now we're on Sunday talking about SummerSlam. Now, noted, Renee Young this was gonna be her last appearance with WWE after her contract has ended and she's leaving the company. We're gonna miss her. United States Championship match start off the show. Cruz versus MVP. Cruz defeat MVP via pinfall to retain the title. Women's Championship. Bayley versus Asuka. Bayley defeat Asuka via pinfall with the assist of Bank, of course. Boo. Raw Tag Team Championship. The Street Profit versus Andrade and Angel Garza. Street Profit retain the belt. Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville on the no DQ. Loser leaves WWE. That was also part of this part of the match. Rose defeat Deville via pinfall. Dominic Mysterio or Prince Mysterio versus Seth Rollins street fight style. Rollins defeat Mysterio. Not surprised. Raw Women's Championship. Sasha Banks versus Asuka. Asuka defeat Banks via submission. That is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Drew wins, as he should. In the Universal Championship, Braun the Monster Strowman versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt. The Fiend wins this match. But we get a big surprise, a big return of the big dog himself, the guy, Roman Reigns, attacking both opponents after the match. And we just say, welcome to the big dog. Now, last night, now we're Monday. 4 days of good stuff, guys, for you. Randy Orton, retaliation on Drew McIntyre. McIntyre is out, but doesn't mean that Randy Orton does not have an opponent for this Saturday. Blazer defeat Bayley via disqualification. It seems that, something is brewing out of this match, which I definitely want to talk to Luisito about. Aleister Black with his one eye patch looking like a pirate came to the Kevin Owens show, and seems like there's been some mystique playing in the mind of Aleister Black. He attacked Kevin Owens. Randy Orton entered to the Thunderdome after an hour, but he has been interrupted by the new added roster member, Keith Lee himself, where he asked for a match with the Legend Killer himself. Tozawa defeat both Truth, Benjamin, and Alexander in a fatal four-way for the 24/7 belt. Not surprised. Lee, Ford, and Ford from Street Profit versus Garza from Zelina Group. Ford defeated Garza. The Riot, Morgan, and Blair defeated the Iconic and Zelina Vega. Cruz defeated Bobby Lashley in a arm wrestling match.
Yeah. Wow. It was so
wow.
dumb.
Mickey James silenced both Natalia and Lana. Why? Orton defeat Lee via disqualification. But this is not going to be the end of this. The Raw Women Championship was on the line in the lumberjack style. Asuka will still be able to defeat Banks via submission. Thanks to Blazer. We love you. Rey Mysterio and Dominique versus Seth Rollins and Murphy 2-on-2 match, but the match was not completed due to a sneak attack of the Retribution, leaving them helpless to the hand of those people. Now, Luisito, with all that being said and done, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. I don't know where to start or where to begin, but the big question to you is, what do you think of Roman's return? I think that's really more of the highlight of everything that occurred besides the Brody Lee winning the TNT Championship.
Yeah, that's another crazy topic. But the whole Roman Reigns thing, basically being 2-3 days removed from SummerSlam, my opinion didn't change too much but I have more time to ponder and think about it and stuff. So SummerSlam, the slogan was like, you didn't see it coming. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good, swerve that we got Roman Reigns. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Things that caught my attention about him is the new look. One, the teeth. He got teeth done. Kudos, but it's just he looks different. He looks more built, which is probably maybe he packed on some more to look more menacing. Maybe this is a new heel move for him. And the new slogan, I think it's I forgot what his new T-shirt. He has like a new slogan: wreck everything
everyone
and leave.
wreck and leave. Wreck
So
everyone and leave.
I was expecting something else. I feel like they missed an opportunity for example, for Otis to cash it in against the Fiend, but we have Roman Reigns. Okay, let's see what happens. And I think it's probably safe enough. I guess kind of putting it. I guess it'll be WWE's being conservative enough that people that have like medical conditions feel safe enough to go back to work, which is good for him. But I didn't expect this happening, but we'll see. That I think they have a match coming up next Sunday in Payback. It's going to be a triple threat match. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, basically the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman for the title.
Okay, so this is my thing, right? I'm happy. I know people are just shocked that I said those words. I'm happy that he is returned and he's healthy and he feels confident to partake with WWE. I'm a little bit annoyed that he is already on the front of the line, not earning. He is already submitted in a triple threat, no DQ match with Braun and the Fiend for the Universal Championship match on Payback.
But I just kind of have to. I have to add to that. I think I understand you come back. You're already automatic in a title picture. I get it, but he had a title, quote unquote, title match or WrestleMania moment that he couldn't have because of COVID. So I feel like that kind of he didn't get a free pass, but I feel like they trying to make up for his WrestleMania moment for this title match.
Okay, so I don't disagree with the facts. Yes, he did had a one-on-one match with Goldberg. That was supposed to be his opponent for the Universal. He comes back now in Payback, or whatever the name of this pay-per-view. Now he's in the triple threat match. I would have put Roman Reigns in a championship match yet because he is such a high value. I would rather have him more partake in a build-up story where it's going to be more sentimental and it's going to be more meaningful. You know what I'm saying? Like Drew McIntyre. You know, Drew McIntyre was out. He came back. He worked his butt off, got in. I felt like the same story could have happened with Roman, as high value as he is. I felt like it was just rushed. It's just too rushed itself because then, like you mentioned, Otis is a big element. We don't know what's going to occur to that. We're not even sure if he's going to even catch it in on the tag team championship. And then the Big E story is like, okay, so if Big E was able to defeat Sheamus, and then let's say he faced Cesaro, let's say he faced Bray, let's say he faced AJ Styles and successfully or Matt Riddle and successfully defeat those men, or Jeff Hardy, right? He defeat those men. And the next person in line now is no longer Braun. It's going to be Roman Reigns. Does Roman Reigns give the over to Big E? That is, to me, the biggest question, because to me, I feel like this should be more, WWE should be focused more on building the story on Big E than the return of Roman Reigns, because just like all the other great ones in the past, you know what I'm saying? Once they show up, everything is like, we got to rewrite everything and focus on him, and that's where they were in trouble before him.
I just kind of playing devil's advocate, going to that train of thought. I think building a story with Roman Reigns and Big E can happen, and it'll be a good story. Follow my train of thought. You know, for I think Talking Smack, the show after SmackDown and stuff. I think The Miz had an interview with Big E talking about how come he's not serious and How come, if he wants to be in the main event, you should be serious and, whatever. He was like, I tried that, but I was basically with Dolph. It worked for a little bit, but now he likes the freedom of being himself. So now you have Roman Reigns coming back super serious. Not a heel. We don't know if he's a heel now, but whatever. Him being super serious, a changed man. And you have Big E, which is a complete contrast of him. So you could have kind of good versus evil. And him defeating the big dog, kind of making him a superstar because you are taking over. Kind of like how Kofi Kingston defeated Daniel Bryan was like super heel. Now you have Roman Reigns kind of like quote unquote heel going against babyface Big E, and that'll be a good.
Well, we'll find out on this upcoming Friday for sure. But what you're confirming, or more on the side that yes, Roman Reigns will help or push Big E towards the championship than anything. Like if anybody will pass that torch, it would be Roman Reigns to Big E. Is that your
that could be a possibility? I think it would be a good move if they end up pursuing the Big E push to the main title.
Okay, fair enough. So the other big story that also occurred this weekend is the Brody Lee defeating Cody Rhodes. Now this is something that many of us was hoping, but we was not really expecting. And godly, I'm happy that it did occur. With TNT Championship being on the Dark Order side, what is your thoughts now? Are we going to see a stable versus stable? Are we going to see more mayhem now that it's the fall and things are about to be a little bit darkish, you know what I'm saying, more wicked? Like what do you think AEW have store for us with this new champion?
It was a good move for TNT. AEW making, transitioning to a new champion. But the way that it came about, I was baffled. I was like, what's going on? Cody does, I watched it live. I was like, huh? Like, he had no offense. He has so much hype going into this match, so much promo the weeks before and build up story to have no offense at all. And Brody Lee could barely defeat Moxley and destroyed Cody. Like, for me, it made no sense. I'm glad that the title is in new hands, and I like that's in the Dark Order. So it gives the Dark Order a new, meaning, or kind of exalted them to a higher level. But I wish Cody has some offense in against Brody Lee. I feel like the way it ended, it was a good thing for the Dark Order, but it was just like, I was so confused and baffled. I'm like, so what's going on? Like, I feel like he played, kind of just pretended to not pretend to lose, but just lose the match. It was just it was not a match. It was just a beat. It made no sense. But good for him. Let's see what happens this Thursday. That TNT it's gonna be AEW, so that should be interesting. How a new reign and control of the Dark Order over the TNT Championship.
Which mean that Thursday for us, we're probably gonna have a whole different conversation since we do Tuesdays and Thursdays for recording. So that's going to be a fun task for us to take care of. Now, out of the 5 shows that I mentioned, which of the 5 were you most impressed with the build-up, the card, the storytelling in your eyes? Like, for example, for me, I'm really impressed on the direction that, again, AEW took. I don't think there was not a single card that was below a C average of a match, even though the elite match was kind of not really my type of flavor, but I'll still give it a C plus the most. But everything else seems to be well constructed and well packaged for our viewership on Saturday. So in your opinion, which out of the 5 shows really caught your attention?
I feel like I didn't watch too much Smack. I saw the recap for Smackdown, but I will say every match from Saturday all the way to Monday had its merits. They were all good shows for me, believe it or not. But I feel like I was looking forward to Takeover more than AEW. AEW, I feel like not a TV show, but I feel like there was like I could go back and watch. I feel like Takeover, if you could go watch it though, but I feel like I didn't want to miss out on Takeover because something always happens in Takeovers. Um, I appreciate I like that most of my prediction for NXT Takeover I got most of them correct. The one I was horrible at was in SummerSlam. SummerSlam it was like I won.
No, we
It was
had the
bad.
same. No, we had the same prediction, and we were
Yeah.
terrible.
But I will say Dynamite and Takeover I had a bunch of good ones. I really liked the one the Karen Cross one. I was kind of
Okay.
disappointed. I liked that he won. I didn't like how he won. It felt like
Mm.
I don't know. I felt it didn't feel that special. Honestly, I like the Pat McAfee match against Adam Cole over championship match. I feel like Pat McAfee has a future in NXT possible, but I feel like he looks better than somebody training, for example, like Dominic looks like somebody that came out of nowhere. He probably the people that they got a special guest. I feel like he's the more potential because we had, for example, we had Cain Velasquez, meh. We had also the championship, Tyson Fury, eh.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the people that they kind of like had spots throughout pay-per-views and stuff. I feel Pat McAfee seemed more realistic and also more potential and kind of I had a feeling like, oh, he could win it. Like some of the moves that he did in spots, I was like, oh, that's impressive. Like I feel like he could have a future in WWE in some type of way or form. But I the ones that I feel like AEW, I like the promos better than the matches. I feel every promo that AEW had were A+. The matches were good, but I feel like having Thunder Rosa, incredible. And that's are we seeing a merger or a collaborative between NWA and AEW,
Yeah.
which will be great. And they both
Collab.
will need it because AEW needs the roster and NWA needs a platform which TNT has to provide. So if they work together, that'll be great. And SummerSlam was good. And there's some spots that I wish they could have done a little better, but I like the story that they're building for basically SummerSlam's like the reset for the season. I like that they're resetting new stories into it. Plus, we had Keith Lee, the Limitless One at Raw, which
Mm-hmm.
I like his thing in Raw, but they messed up his music and they messed up his gear. I was like, you have to like ruin it, but he looks like a star and might be one of the top babyface for Raw.
I mean, I hear you out. I mean, to me, if I could put them in order, I still put AEW first. I'll definitely put in SummerSlam, then Takeover, Raw, and then SmackDown. The thing with SmackDown, it was the first episode within the Thunderdome.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the one element that I'm kind of weird out is more with the fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, fans, I think they're paying like $125 just to be in the screens. You know what I'm saying? Which is
Really?
kind of crazy.
I had an invitation to go in, so I don't know if you have to be a WWE like the network member and you kind of go in, or I don't know if
It
you have
was
to pay a
some.
fee.
I read something on the Twitter and somebody in the comment could definitely correct me or not, but read something about like 125 and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of pricey just to be on WWE.
It's
But I
cheaper than a
guess with the
ticket.
pack, I mean, but the package also include that you get like a 4 minute talk with the
Oh no,
with the
those are
stars.
sorry, those are meet and greets for those were 125 for SummerSlam. To be in the
Uh-huh.
Thunderdome were I don't know if they charge or not, but I know SummerSlam they had a deal that you could do a meet and greet with specific superstars,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's
Mm-hmm.
a 2 minute meet and greet, which is kind of crazy. Like you could, it's think about it, 2 minutes. It's about less time that it takes to make popcorn. That's not enough time. Like that's crazy. But they gotta make their money somehow, which I get business. But it'd be kind of interesting to see how to be involved in the Thunderdome or be part of the show. But it might be cheaper and safer than going to a live show. But
It is,
it's an
but the
alternative, you know.
but to me is just how it's layer out. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I know the NBA is definitely the pioneer who demonstrated what they could do with the fan, and I guess they have more money to invest on more cutouts, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say,
Okay.
so that way it could look more presentable. Like people who are in bleachers, doesn't show a lot of like background. And then these fans, the WWE, the wrestling fans are ridiculous. We seen Pikachu. We have seen the
Ted.
KKK. We seen Chris Benoit portrait photo. We have seen
Fire.
like
Velveteen Dream.
Valentine Dream, Fire Valentine
Yeah.
Dream. Like
We
there
seen
were
people
so.
sleeping during the show.
Oh, I mean, if it was a bit, then heck,
No,
hey,
there was like a
that was.
couple of people, not one or two. There was like a couple of people in different rows sleeping. It was hilarious. They had Ted, like a little teddy bear, just there, kind of like, which is kind of funny. But
I get it because like in baseball they have teddy bears on in the background with
mhm.
behind the batters and stuff, but home plate. But again, it's just like I wish it would just be more clean, on the presentation side, if it's possible. If not, like I said, the Thunderdome itself, Enway Stadium, definitely looked legit. It definitely would look like if they were going, on tour. The setup is good. I'm hoping that they could definitely build up a good story. Out of the stories that we're getting, Alex Black, Kevin Owen from Raw, it seems to be in the mist. We don't know what possessed Alex Black, but it seems like he's gonna have his dancing shoes ready with Kevin Owen. I think this is a story worth telling
Mhm.
between the two. And my worry is that Aleister Black get buried. I'm hoping more that this is more of a one-on-one type of rivalry match where if I do this, I'm gonna top you on that. If you do this, I'm gonna top you on. You know what I'm saying? That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping out of Aleister Black and Kevin Owens.
Well, I feel like that this is a good story for both because they haven't been used in a story per se besides the Rollins situation since
Correct.
WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at least utilizing Kevin Owens because most of the time he's been used for the Kevin Owens show or it's kind of like a commentator, so not an non action role on TV. Um, was that a Judas effect that he did against, or will you consider that as like a regular back elbow?
A regular back
Oh,
elbow.
okay, I was like, did he just did the Judas effect? I was like, all right,
I
I
mean,
think Jericho might appreciate it, but
well, keep in mind, just because a wrestler use it as its finisher doesn't mean
mhm.
like other people can't use it as like a regular move.
No,
So
true. But I saw that I was like, all right, we might see a new version. I hope he keeps this look for a little bit. It looks a little bit better and looks like not heel, but more menacing and like he comes basically. I feel like it's something different. Try something different with Aleister Black because the way he has been used on Raw hasn't worked for me, and I
okay,
feel like it might help him at least something different. Try something different. Then if not, you could go back to your regular, kind of like Undertaker-ish look from before. But it's
maybe,
something
maybe.
different. But I like the story that they're doing with Kevin Owens, and I feel like he's probably the person that could equal to him and could build stories to help both of them up the ranks.
Uh, agreed. Other stories that are building within WWE that are catching our attention is that the fact that Bailey did not help Sasha to retain her Raw Women's Championship. Now, you and I, we both pick that Bailey
Mm-hmm.
was going to lose the belt and hoping that Asuka is transferred to SmackDown, and then hoping that the Raw Women Championship will be on the line between Asuka, against Bailey and Sasha. But it's vice versa. Raw Championship still goes back to Asuka. Now Banks, feeling kind of, feeling herself, be like, what kind of friend are you? We have this story in development. Now, guys, if you saw Monday, you ask yourself, what the F? Blazer and Nia Jax
Mm-hmm.
don't like each other. Blazer had a match with Bailey. She loses the match because she got DQ by Nia Jax.
But wouldn't Baszler win the match because she was the one who got hit?
Yeah,
But yeah, but okay,
Bailey,
she
Bailey
retained.
lost the
Yeah,
match.
yeah.
Yeah, she still retained. Now we are seeing in Pay Black, whatever this pay-per-view is called. We're gonna see the women tag team
Mhm.
being defended versus the Golden Role Model versus Nia Jax and Blazer. What type of storytelling is this?
They're gonna lose it. This is the beginning of the end of the Golden Role Models. Yes, yes.
So you are for this idea? Because to me,
I feel like
is
Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler might be transitional champions because they're gonna like hate each other so much that they won't be able to like. I feel like
the bar,
eventually
yeah, sure.
they're gonna one gonna leave the other one at the ring, and one is basically gonna be 2 against 1, and that person will lose it, and that's the way for them to split up. But I feel like nobody at the moment that's our teams in the women's division can take them out, can take the champions out. So I feel like putting two of your strongest females together, they may hate each other. They could work together enough to appease themselves. The title could like appease themselves until they can't stand each other again. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like my enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I feel like
Yeah, I saw that quote. I still don't agree with this idea. One reason why I don't agree with this idea is that you have an opportunity to focus on two women to be competitor, something on the sideline, like whatever they're doing with this Mickey James and Natalia and Lana. That is some time you could have placed for Nia Jax and Blazer, because these are two hard hitting women who are ready to go and put their life on the line. But we're putting that idea on the shelf, and we're taking down the idea of like what we did with the Bar, what we did with Triple H and Stone Cold, what we did with the
The
Rock,
Rock, yeah, Mankind.
and Mankind.
Mhm.
These ideas,
It
we're
worked with
going
them.
to recycle it, and we're going to expect
Mhm.
that these women will be able to work cohesive to be able to win this title.
You're already convincing yourself. You mentioned everything how it
No,
worked.
I mean,
History repeats itself, so it's gonna
history
work.
does repeat itself, but does not mean that I like
Yeah.
my history class. I don't like that. I rather for the story to be more unique. I rather that the either Iconics or the Riot Squad go for the belt, lose the belt, but then on another pay-per-view, Blazer and Nia Jax, okay, fine, win.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna come out with the W on this one. I'm on the opposing side of this for sure.
Because I think
Now,
eventually we can. If I don't want this team to be together, but maybe we could see Mickey James and Natalia together later on. Because they're gonna have a feud with each other eventually. But they could, since they respect each other, you know what I'm saying? So they could not redo the same thing, but
ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the YouTube or listen to us, I am shaking my head to everything this man is saying.
so we never know, because there's no other teams that I would say that could like take it to Baszler and Nia if they end up getting the titles. But we'll see. Anything could happen. And
Okay, so here's a hypothetical, right? Would you rather have Nia Jax and Blazer versus the Golden Role Model, or would rather have Dakota Kai and Raquel go for the title on Payback or Payback or whatever it's called?
no, I still want the Baszler Nia Jax.
Interesting, because I'd rather
because I feel there's unfinished business in NXT, so I wouldn't want to mix. I know the tag team division you could go to all three brands, but I feel like they haven't. The Golden Role Models haven't been in NXT so much to build stories with them. So they come out of the blue, you know what I'm saying? And also
it's having an opponent.
So they want payback against that too.
But
you know what I'm saying? Like,
but I, as the consumer, I, as the person who is witnessing this product, I would rather witness something different than what it's already been recycled. You know, because one thing that if anybody who watched NXT Takeover saw, right, Raquel tried to attack Aew. Ripley came in and had her back. Ripley went up the ramp, turned around, and was staring at the belt, meaning the story between the Dakota Kai and Aew, to me, is done.
True, but then now you have Raquel and Ripley story. They had a face-off. And that face-off was intense.
Okay.
So I don't think that's finished.
but okay, even if that face off was as intense as you're telling me as it is, I will still like to see someone else take that spot for this pay-per-view,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is only what, few days from now
Yeah.
after SummerSlam, and tell that story of how they were close. And you could have Ripley go in and interfere. You could have other element that could definitely continue the story with NXT. Keep the golden role model with the belt, and following pay-per-view, you have the Nia Jackson Blazer
Yeah. But I
story
feel that wouldn't
ready to be
sell.
presented.
But I feel also that story, like, which is a good idea, but I feel like it wouldn't sell, especially for a pay-per-view that went immediately. This pay-per-view was like an afterthought because everybody forgot that Payback is after SummerSlam, and it was just like, oh snap, we have a big show last week, this past Sunday. The next
Mm-hmm.
Sunday we have our pay-per-view. That, like, how things fell, it was awkward because normally you have at least a month in between each pay-per-view, and
That is
this one's
true.
just like
It is
thrown in
weird.
there. So at least
It is
this
weird.
one, it's a quote unquote big match, and you have your big players, especially what they have set up story wise into going into Payback. They have big matches just to like put a show on rather than just like build new stories or bring new people into the mix.
Okay, so I hear you. Now, the same idea still applied or is already implemented with the Randy Orton match versus Keith Lee.
Yeah, but he's a Raw member now.
Yeah, okay.
Dakota Kai and Raquel, they're still in
They're a
NXT.
women tag team though.
They're
They're a
not a
women tag.
tag team. They She works with, it's like Dolph Ziggler and Big E. He works for, like, they're collaborative. They're not a tag team.
Still, the
I will say
word
like
collab
Casey.
is working together.
Yeah,
So
but I will say like
it's
they're
similar
not.
to team. So
They're more of, I don't know. It's, for example, it's the same thing with the Hurt Business. They work together, but they're not a tag team.
but
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
they're unit.
yeah, but they're
They're
not a tag
stable.
team. Yeah,
They're together.
yeah.
Isn't that like
I
a
don't know. I feel like they needed a big name to sell for Payback. They needed something, throw names out there to give us something for Payback. You know,
But again, that idea
I
that
would have
I spit
preferred.
out.
You know what? I would have preferred Shotzi Blackheart and Rhea Ripley. They teamed up together. They helped each other out. They could bring something. You know, like Rhea Ripley's a big name. I would have preferred them over if you put in people from
What?
NXT together, then Raquel and Dakota Kai.
Bro, yo, but again, what is wrong with Dakota Kai and Raquel in your eyes? Because
No, there's nothing wrong with
I
them.
know about Blackheart and Ripley. I know about them. I know that Io and Asuka could probably would have been a bigger
That'll be another one.
name,
Yeah.
but Dakota Kai has put in work for months
Mm-hmm.
for NXT. It's a tag team match out of the blue.
But what
that
about, for example, if you throw
anyone could have filled in the spot?
a tag team there, you could have done Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. That's a tag team. They've been tagged in together.
No, those are
they're
jobbers.
they're a
Those
tag
are
team.
jobbers. But Dakota Kai is a big name. Raquel is a big present. They get into Payback, lose it to them, may be able to go up to Raw and go further on with the women tag team. Like they could, like Dakota Kai. There's no way in hell she's going to get another NXT Women Championship match again. So who is better to move up from her loss than her? How can you surprise people? By bringing element of surprise, bringing people who are unexpected, underdog, like Dakota Kai. I'm not talking about Tegan. I'm not talking about Mia Yim. I'm not talking about Blackheart, Ripley, because those
Even
are
though
people.
most of the people that you mentioned, I think one of them might be part of Retribution. That's something, that's just
Yeah, I heard that too. But again, I believe that these women are so far the forefront with Candice LeRae and Io Shirai for NXT. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I would not want to lose these 5 pieces already, but I can't afford to have Dakota Kai and Raquel move up the ladder, because then in the near future, I would love to see Raquel versus Nia Jax. I would love to see her face Belair. Like my goal, my focus is not much on Dakota Kai It's more on Raquel.
Hmm.
I would like for her to finally be a soloist once they depart with Dakota
Yeah,
Kai. That is
she's still
mostly the ending for me.
she's one of the big pieces in NXT, but I feel she still needs a little bit more time. I feel she needs a little bit, not a full season, but let's say finish out the year in NXT just to get more in ring. Because let's say eventually she's gonna face
That's
Rhea
four
Ripley.
season right there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, true, but she's gonna potentially face Rhea Ripley eventually, or have something face off. So I feel like she needs. I want to see her more in ring action, at least a couple of more matches that I've seen her. Then eventually move on to Raw or SmackDown or facing.
I feel like this is an opportunity wasted with Blazer and Nia Jax. I don't believe things are going to be accomplished from this match. Same way with Paulo Cruz versus Bobby Lashley.
Mhm.
From this arm wrestling match, now we're gonna have a U.S. title championship match against with these two people.
Yeah.
It's just like word. So now Lashley is no longer entitled for heavyweight. Now we're gonna give him
Nah,
a mid card.
I think Keith Lee took that role. I feel like he eventually we're gonna see maybe NATO champions are triple threat, because I think at Payback I think McIntyre is gonna interfere at the match, and Keith Lee is not gonna like that. Then we might have a triple threat match between McIntyre, Randy Orton, and Keith Lee, which wouldn't be too bad for the next pay per view.
No, the idea is not bad. I'm not sure if they're going to be that obvious. I'm hoping that Keith Lee may get his first win because he's not a legend. So technically, he might be more worthy of winning over Randy Orton
Mm-hmm.
for this. But again,
And
we got to see.
basically his first debut match was a DQ. Like he needs some to string some wins, and it's kind of tough because he won one match DQ. Now he's gonna to a pay per view against Randy Orton, potential another DQ or loss. Who knows? I don't think he's gonna win that match because Randy Orton needs to continue some type of momentum going against McIntyre. So now you're stuck in a lose-lose situation, the same way that happened on Saturday at Takeover between him and Karrion Kross. You are like at crossroads. Keith Lee loses, okay, he moved on to Raw, fine. But if Karrion Kross lost, that you build that guy so much up that you just destroyed him, and you know what I'm saying. So it's just like they put themselves in a corner between, especially with superstars, which is not bad, but it's just like you have to be fine tuning your decision as a company.
And very good comment from me right there. Going back to AEW, right? Tully Blatchard being part with
Mm-hmm.
FTR. The
It's the beginning.
men's took a photo of threes in their post match photo. What's this? You made a comment already on it, but what's your thoughts? What's your full thought on
I
this?
think this is the beginning of the. We've been always talking about the Four Horsemen. I don't know if they're gonna do Four Horsemen or the five or whatever it is, whatever number, whatever faction. I think it's the beginning of it. So Sean Spears still in Tully's camp.
Hopefully.
I think he's still part of his. He still manages Sean Spears. Now FTR is being sponsored or coached by Tully Blanchard, which is great. They need somebody. They don't need somebody to manage them, but he's the person to back you up, and you need a legend to like the stamp of approval. Maybe we could see. I know we had Hangman after the match talk to them and stuff, and he basically out of not we don't want to take your title, but kind of out of respect, because I think it's this show, the next show they're gonna have a kind of eliminate gauntlet match, a tag team gauntlet match to face the champions, and FTRs are the last people in the gauntlet. So I think they're gonna end up winning the gauntlet to go against Omega and Hangman, and I think that's the beginning of the separation of Omega and Hangman potentially being part of the group, whatever name is called, with Tully, FTR, and Sean Spears, which will be great. And it's a good. This is the era of change, as we saw with Brody. So having this new group, it'd be a good decision for AEW.
You definitely kind of gave some clarity for me on who could be the actual fourth man. And him and Page definitely is not much of an elite anymore. He's
Mm-hmm.
more siding with FTR. So if Luisito did the math for you guys, for those who didn't follow, you got Sean Spear already under Blatcher, stable.
Yeah.
Now you got FTR. FTR are being slowly convincing Hammond Page right there. There's four people equaling, or they could be the five horsemen or gunmen, whatever
Which yeah,
name they would like to use. It's going to be something magical.
and
So
that good name for them would be the Revolt, or well, I don't think they could use that because WWE owns the Revolt, but the Revolution or something. I think because FDR, they used that the Revolt as part of one of their trademarks. I think WWE might have the Revolt itself as trademark, so I think they probably have to Revolution or whatever. But I feel they could make up a newer name rather than recycling Four Horsemen.
I no, like the Force Gunman,
Yeah.
something clever, that anything in the inner circle or
Mm.
the triangle death thing.
They've been
That
coming out with good they're coming out with new names for groups. I think that's another group. It's called the Initiative, which is an interesting group, and it's Brandon Cutler and the librarian. But at least the name, the
shut the
Initiative. No,
front
no.
door.
But I'm saying
No,
the Initiative. I
next
was like,
topic.
that's
Get
a
out
good
here.
name.
No,
for them,
you ain't gonna bring those two losers right now.
They
Get
have
out
a
of
good
here.
name.
No, let's talk about a team that's worth talking about. Cutler.
But I
Yeah.
feel like another group that's forming. I think now they're starting AEW is forming teams. We had Eddie Kingston trying to gather all the heels together after the Luchasaurus and Natural Nightmares put them together. But I feel like he has ulterior motives because he basically did like a hurrah message for all of them to unite because everybody's a heel and he's trying to give props to all four. I think it was Butch and the Blade and Pentagon and Ray Phoenix together. So to be united together to kind of take down everybody else. But he threw us a wink during the hug, a part of the hug. So I don't know if he has other motives or I don't know if he really is part of his character to like mess with them, but form them, but destroy them from within. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like he gave us some cues of what might happen later on in the future.
So the Jurassic Express versus the Natural Nightmare match against my favorite team, Butcher and the Blade and Lucha Bros. Um, that was really unexpected for
Okay.
me. I was hoping more that the Lucha Bros and Butcher and the Blade would continue with their winning streak as four-man team per se.
I didn't like at all Luchasaurus. I even wrote in my notes. That's how like bad for me. I think he did. I wrote Luchasaurus looked slow, and his sequence was no bueno. But Jungle Boy had the hot hand and hot tags throughout, which was good. They were highlighting him. But Luchasaurus, I don't know I don't know. It's just I think it might be his extension pretty soon, because I feel like, yeah, I know, right? But I just I don't know. Like it's not appealing to me like Luchasaurus. Like it's just the way he moves. I don't know if it's he has to more in ring stuff. I don't know if it's the rust. I don't know, but it's just like not working out for me. I don't know what's going on.
I would say it's just the fact that Jungle Boy is definitely getting a hot hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sure, the Natural Nightmare of combination of Dustin and what's homeboy name again? Why his
QT
name
Marshall.
is QT Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
He got
I
a bunny,
understand.
bro.
Yeah, he got Ali, not the bunny. He got Ali. Let's be corrected. So I see the push for these three people. Luchasaurus, not too much, but the Lucha Bros are a team that I feel like they should not lose to these group of people. I feel like they should have been more in a more winning streak as they were been,
Mm-hmm.
so that way maybe they could be another team that could face FTR for the belt.
True,
Or
but I feel
hey, man,
there was miscommunications amongst the group. They never tag team together.
or as they sold it to us.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I understand why they lost, but I feel like with your talent, you shouldn't have lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get your ducks in a row, make it to this, at least finish out the match, and if you're gonna hit each other, great, do it after the match. But I think the Blade wanted to do um the Ray Phoenix spot, and Pentagon, I was like, no, you're not doing that. So that's kind of what built the tension between the group and stuff, and that what caused the loss. But it was just like, it was miscue between. That's the only way I feel like the baby faces were able to get the win, but it was just like miscommunication.
And it cost them dearly. So that was a match that I was not too happy about. Darby being attacked by both Brian Cage and Starks.
Which was great.
I think that's a great storyline happening, especially that Moxley didn't show up for the rescue, having Darby's back. So the question is, who is going to help out Darby? Moxley gave a hell of a promo. I really liked it. It had more of the Joker from Dark Knight type of vibe at the beginning, but then he kind of like messed up the flow, and I'm like, you were doing so well, but still A+, great video package in my personal opinion.
As you could tell, MJF is carrying that feud. Like Moxley, I'm not saying that he's not that good at promos and stuff, but it's just like MJF is carrying the promo section of the feud. MJF is carrying it. I feel like Moxley is not holding his end, like a fair share of the feud. He is the champion.
He's doing it his own style.
True, but it's just like I like, for those who like don't follow, like break it down like we do. For me, it's just like it's not a fair share between the two, but he's doing his part. But I feel like I wish he was doing not more, but I just do it differently.
Well, okay, so differently is what he's doing. Maybe if it's not as more articulate or much clearer as MJF messages, then sure, I give you that, because I feel there were some wording from John Moxley message that he could have substituted, basically, saying like it's not going to be the 5th, but not, something like All Out, or a long way to go. But his message definitely, like I said, it was a strong beginning. I really was feeling the Joker type of voice tone, what I'm saying, in his promo, and it kind of like linger at the end, similar to like if he was just like, let me improvise, which I don't think it really helped him at the end, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I mean, like, these guys are definitely doing a good job building up All Out. I'm really excited to see how this match turn out, and if MJF is the future of the heavyweight belt, great. If John Moxley continue, great, because if so, then the next person I can see that coming towards him is Brody Lee once again, but
Really?
this time
champion
versus champion.
I think I don't want this throw this into the system, into the universe, but I think the reason why Cody dropped the title is because he probably wants to pursue something greater, which is the AW, which he might get that eventually. Not All Out or whatever, but
I thought his condition was he was no longer going to pursue the heavyweight belt if he would have lost the belt.
Jericho.
If he would have lost,
I feel like it reset. For me, I would reset it. I'm like, Jericho's not champion, so everything that I said doesn't count. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's.
Are you
taking on board?
Do you really want Cody to be heavyweight champion?
If
honest, like, this is an honest.
I wouldn't mind him being the AW champion.
Dead ass. This is like
because the belt's already made. He has no excuse, and I wouldn't mind him having the next person, not the next one, because I think that for me the next person might be MJF. But if MJF is next, then you could have Cody, you could have Darby, you could have other people that MJF faced. That like one of them could be Cody eventually. And if I was Cody and I'm the executive, whatever, I'm making myself, writing myself into a story and towards the AW champion.
Those are really bold wordings that come out of your mouth, and I feel like we're almost out of time for today's episode. So I would like to end it with just two more things. Definitely we got to give shout out to our Caribbean sisters for winning the cup.
which was good.
I'm hoping that they announce a belt this Thursday or something
That
for
would be kind
them.
of cool just to see, or something to they could cash in the title, like the price into something, or even
Exactly.
championship, either championship opportunities, or each of them have a title opportunity later on.
And also Damian Priest. Damn.
It was that match was crazy. It wasn't. I feel like the first North American ladder match was the best one in comparison, but this one was up there. I was a good number two. And I'm glad that I think I picked him for that, and I'm glad that he won, and he's gonna be a good person for that North American championship. Good story, and he could go against anybody.
He could, but I mean, like,
Do you want a
I
Velveteen Dream or you want a Gargano? Who do you want it?
Valentin Dream being a two-time North American champion, it's not a bad ring to it. Johnny Gargano being a three-time, not a bad ring to it.
The only one I didn't want was Cameron Grimes. I did not want him to even sniff that title, because you know how annoying he would be if he was the champion.
But
Which
then,
is good, a good reaction, but he'd be so annoying. Like,
but then what if he becomes like the Miz of NXT? You know what I'm
true,
saying?
which
I
could
wouldn't
happen.
mind
Yeah,
that.
that'll be something different that NXT does. That they could use. But I like that Damon Priest, he a veteran, and now we could see more of his style against other people, especially with the title.
I guess so. But Priest definitely left a bad taste. So, Lucita, real quick, what was just pick one, your favorite out of these five shows, your favorite match, your worst match.
Um, the best match I would say. Let me just get a quick look at what we had. Um, mhm. I would have to say the I would say the Finn Balor match. I like that because it's a little bit different. It showed the wrestling style for both and kind of submission, and it's basically this is the beginning of Finn Balor's projection to something greater. Who knows, North American, UK, NXT, who knows? But I like that one because it gave us, for those who like the wrestling itself rather than sports entertainer, the wrestling itself, they gave us what wrestling is, and basically two veterans going at each other, which was great. It was a good match altogether, and it was an opener too.
And your worst?
Um, I will say it was okay for them, but I will say the Sonya Deville Mandy Rose one. They wrestled up to the standard, but this needed to be resolved. But it wasn't like horrible. But I will rank amongst all the matches throughout the week. Also this and probably Raw Underground.
All right. That's fair enough. Fair enough. I would say favorite match of the week of the weekend. I'm going to give it to AEW Ivelisse Diamante winning the cup. I personally supported my Latin's familia on this. The worst match I'm seeing from this, and people don't take me wrong, but if you're gonna use my girl Naomi, you know what I'm saying, uh don't try to play her off like that. Her losing to Sasha and then beating Bailey, then what? Does she also get a titlement for the SmackDown belt, even though she already lost to Bailey for it? Like, what are you trying to pull from that? So I think that was not my favorite match of the weekend. And Lucha House Party might not be no more too. We saw what happened on SmackDown. Doesn't look bueno. So, with that being said, this is the Providence Lucha Talk, man. If you have not been listening to us, if this is your first time listening to us, if someone told you about us, if you are just watching this video by accident, we only have two words for you. Follow us. Follow us on Insta. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on the Twitter, as well as the YouTube. We want to thank everybody for supporting us as well on the audio contents on the Spotify and Apple Music. We appreciate you. I think Thursday, like I said, we might do something different now that AEW will be on Thursday. We probably lightly talk about NXT and what they did on Wednesday night, but we probably will have something different to conversate with you guys for that day. So with that being said, I'm your boy Jay Aguila.
This was Luisito.
And we say good night and peace.
Good night. See ya.